Hello everybody. Today I'm going to be doing a review and flip through of IEW's public speaking course. I thought that it would be fun to give you guys a look inside. This is something that I'm going to be using with my son this year, and we might even be doing it as one of our classes for our co-op. And so I'm really excited about this one. I've been wanting to get my kids into a speech and debate class for the last couple of years, and I just have not been able to find the right fit. There's one in our area that they meet twice a month, but the class itself is 4 hours long and it goes from like 4 to 8 p.m. and I'm just not doing that. So I'm really excited that IEW has a program like this that we can do on our own, and my kids can still learn and be equipped with the same public speaking skills that they would get in a group like that just, doesn't match up time-wise for us. So I'm gonna go ahead and flip around the camera and give you guys a look inside. Alright you guys, so I'll start with an unboxing first and then I'll do the review and flip through for you. So as you open it up, you'll get your activation code. I have mine covered for obvious reasons, but it's basically just showing you how to get access to the videos that accompany this course. And then you'll get a sheet that basically just goes over, how to set up your course. Then you get your public speaking portable walls set, and this basically just gives your child additional information on how to set up their speech. And so questions for invention, transitions, enumeration, what to avoid, their 3 modes of persuasion, and then the different types of speeches, and then the 5 canons of rhetoric. And so it's just something, like visual aids for them to develop their speech. And then they get their binder. So this one is the student packet and this one is the teacher's manual. I'll go ahead and do a flip through of the student book and then I'll just give you guys a quick look inside the teacher's manual. So as you open it up, you'll get a sheet on how to access your downloads, and then you'll get your table of contents, and then an introduction and what supplies you'll need, how to assemble your binder, vocabulary, and then your scope and sequence, and then it jumps directly into your lessons. So at the time of filming, this set is $99, and I will have it linked down below in case you would like to check it out. This is geared for children in 6th to 12th grade, and is a 12-week long curriculum that is done 4 days a week. Let's go over what assignments and speeches they'll do each week, and then I'll go over all the different techniques that they'll learn throughout this course. So in week 1, they will memorize a poem and they will learn how to deliver it. In week 2, they will deliver 1 of 4 poems that they cover in week 1. And then they will start memorizing a stanza from Friends, Romans, and Countrymen. In week 3, they will deliver their stanza from the week before and start memorizing a new stanza from Casey at the Bat. In week 4, they will deliver the new stanza that they learned in week 3, and then they will start working on their self-introductory speech. In week 5, they will deliver their self-introductory speech, and then they'll start working on a 7-minute narrative speech. And then in week 6, they'll continue to work on their narrative speech and memorize it. And in week 7, that's when they will deliver their narrative speech. Then after that, they will start working on a 7-minute expository speech. In week 8, they will continue working on this speech and start memorizing it. And then in week 9, your child will deliver it and start working on a 10-minute persuasive speech. In week 10, they will continue working on and memorizing their persuasive speech. And in week 11, they will deliver their persuasive speech, then learn the structure of and practice delivering a 5-minute impromptu speech. In week 12, they will deliver their final speech, which will be a 5-minute impromptu speech. And throughout this course, your child will also learn weekly vocabulary words from weeks 1 to 11, as well as speaker evaluation techniques, the structure of different types of speeches, determining how many words per minute they speak, breathing and vocal techniques, speech delivery goals, 3 modes of persuasion, as well as memory techniques. Okay, so we're at the back of the book. I'm going to go back to lesson 2 just to give you guys an example of what they'll be doing for one of the assignments. So with that, okay, so here's week 2. So each lesson is going to start with watching the public speaking videos that come with the course. These videos range from about 45 minutes to about an hour and 22 minutes, with most ranging more or less around the 1 hour mark. So for week 2, you're going to get your goals. So it says to deliver a poem, the yak, the hen, the Maldive shark, or sea fever. To learn the 4 speaker evaluation techniques. To learn the structure of a basic speech. To memorize a stanza of Friends, Romans, and Countrymen. To learn new vocabulary, and then it gives you the words, and then suggested daily practice. So day 1, you're going to watch video 2, use the critique forms on page 21, and evaluate the students on the video as they recite their poems. Compare your evaluations of the speakers with the completed critique forms on page 23. And so, for example, this is what the critique form looks like. Here it is up close. Hopefully you guys can see it pretty well. So this is what your child will fill out. And then this is the completed one from IEW. So then your child can, gauge how their critique went versus what a professional critique would look like. Okay, and then it says, ask someone to evaluate you as you recite your selected poem. Use page 25. Choose one stanza of Friends, Romans, Countrymen to memorize. To aid with memorization, download Week 2 IPS MP3 and listen to your selected stanza. Day 2, begin memorizing your selected stanza of Friends, Romans, Countrymen. Practice using different memory techniques. Look up unfamiliar words so that you can accurately interpret the stanza that you are memorizing. As you recite, imagine yourself in the context of a speech. Day 3, continue memorizing your selected stanza. Review the memorized section while adding a new chunk. Recite with precision, practicing voice, posture, contact, and hand gestures. Day 4, finish memorizing your selected stanza. Recite with precision, including voice, posture, contact, and hand gestures. Record yourself giving your stanza and self-evaluate. In preparation for the next class, begin thinking about different aspects of yourself for the body of a self-introductory speech. These aspects should be related to a common theme: personality traits, family members, pets, activities, hobbies, etc. And then down here, it will give you some memory techniques to help just aiding you memorizing your speeches. And then the next page, it goes over the structure of a basic speech and what all that includes, and then some speaker evaluation techniques. And then it goes into the critique form that I showed you, and then the filled out critique form, and then the critique form that they will use when delivering their speech. And then here is the memorization that they will do for this week for Friends, Romans, and Countrymen. And then it goes into week 3. So let me give you guys a quick look at the teacher's guide. Okay, so here is the teacher's guide, and it's going to be very similar to the student book. So as you open it up, you get how to access your downloads. You get your table of contents, an introduction, how to assemble the binder, supplies, all of that, scope and sequence. And then you're going to get pages that basically mimic the student book, but with additional information for the parent or teacher surrounding it. So for instance, let's go to week 2 since that's the lesson that I showed you guys. So it says, it gives you a video summary of the video that you would have watched with your child. And then on this side, it says, to help your students focus on specific skills when they practice their stanza, have them read the top of the critique form on page 37. And then it gives you additional information and then the definitions of their vocabulary words. And then additional information. So this one says, Warren Buffett said, it's good to learn from your mistakes. It's better to learn from other people's mistakes. Encourage your student to watch each recitation, not only to critique the student on the screen, but to consider what must be avoided and what should be emulated. Guide students through the evaluation process as they critique the delivery of the poems recited on the video. As they watch each recitation, students should review the poise, locution, and contact techniques on page 19, noting strengths and suggestions for improvement. After students review their notes, direct them to assign an overall score for each technique by circling a number from 1, poor, to 5, excellent. Students are not evaluated on content until week 5 when they deliver their speeches that they write. As students compare their evaluations with the completed critique forms below, recognize that critiques are subjective to a certain degree. Students should use the provided critiques to deepen their understanding of a presentation process. Discuss elements to avoid and elements to emulate. Point out that the poem cannot be effectively delivered until it is perfectly memorized. Later in this course, Mr. Pudawa will explain that a speaker who has memorized his or her speech appears more knowledgeable than the individual who relies on notes. And then basically review the definitions on page 19. Take notes on strengths and suggestions for improvement as you watch your students' recitation. And then as students evaluate other students, they learn how to self-evaluate. After students have memorized their poems, require them to record and watch themselves, preferably multiple times. As students watch recordings of themselves, challenge them to analyze their delivery and critically answer the questions. This week, the first 2 questions deal with poise. The speed of delivery is locution, and smiling is contact. Students should self-evaluate both their strengths and weaknesses. Growth will occur when students are willing to improve based on self-evaluation. And then it gives you some tips on them memorizing and then defined words, and encourage students to use the memory techniques to practice every day. Frequent practice results in better memorization. Adding specific gestures to words will aid in the memory process. Require students to practice their memory work while standing. Encourage them to consider their voice, posture, eye contact, and hand gestures. And then it basically goes into week 3. So this is all going to basically just follow exactly how this student book looks. It's just going to give you all of the additional aids to help teach this course on the sides. And then I believe towards the end you get a congratulations, you've completed this course. You can take a cute little picture and that's basically it. So I'm going to go ahead and flip around the camera now. Alright you guys, so that was the review and flip through of their introduction to public speaking. I hope that it helped to see inside. I love getting to see inside, so I always like to show you guys basically inside of all of the curriculums that we're using or just that I end up getting my hands on. I am really excited to be using this with my son this year. I'm even going to work in my daughter. I know that she doesn't fall necessarily in the grade range for this, but I think that it could still be good skills that she can learn, and I can just tailor it to her age. I'm really excited because I'm talking with a girl from our co-op who wanted to start meeting as a group and using this, and so I offered to help out since we're going to be using it anyway, and so we don't have to necessarily do the whole thing completely on our own. He'll get that engagement from other kids his age, and so I think that this is going to be really fun. I will have it linked down below in case you want to check it out. It is an affiliate link, but it does not cost you any more to use it. It just gives me a small commission so that way I can continue to do these videos for you guys. If you like this video, don't forget to give me a big thumbs up, hit that red subscribe button, share this video with your friends that may be looking for a public speaking curriculum, and I will see you guys again later. Bye.